Welcome to A Mason's Work, the podcast where we review Masonic symbols and illustrate how they can be used to solve problems in everyday life. With your host, Brian Mattox, a proud member of the Craftsman Online Media Network.
I want to take today's episode and talk about something we don't talk about much, but a lot of folks struggle with, and that is willpower. Willpower is this idea that you will, through determination alone, be able to overcome the obstacles ahead of you. And part of the reason why that's so sort of enchanting as a concept is that it becomes very much this idea that it is virtuous to persevere, and in that perseverance, create outcomes. There is, in a lot of settings, no merit in that whatsoever. And you'll see it right now. There's a kind of a backlash, and it's an odd backlash of folks that are taking like things like GLP-1 to help lose weight. And they will self-deprecate and say, yes, I'm doing it the fake way, or I'm not doing it the right way. I'm using medicine or what have you. And the reality of that kind of evaluation is that if you try to do things by willpower alone, you are guaranteeing that you will get exhausted, get fatigued, and then the moment you find yourself low on dopamine or you find yourself low on serotonin, you will go and violate your own precepts, which happens to everyone all of the time, or at some point in their lives. Let's put it that way. That and then they will go and essentially consider that a moral failing or a failing of their willpower. So there's been just a magnitude of studies done about willpower and what it is and why it is. Willpower is this idea that you will be able to, through sheer force of will alone, accomplish an objective. It is very closely related to a concept called decision fatigue. So when you put somebody in a situation where they have a lot of decisions to make in a high stress environment, their decision quality erodes over time. They get fatigued from making these decisions, and it starts to have, psychological and physiological impacts on their health and well-being. Willpower is very, very closely related to decision fatigue. So it's not just the decision to face adversity, for example, once. It's the decision on a moment-by-moment basis to persevere through that. And so it, as a muscle, kind of conceptually, you have the ability to grow your willpower as a capacity. And this can be done with lots of exercises, and there's lots of stuff out there. But I'm going to suggest to you that growing your willpower actually is probably, while it's useful and for sure you should definitely do it, is probably not going to get you the outcomes you're looking for. And I'll give you a discrete example. As someone who struggled, for years with diet and exercise and things like that, we often don't analyze our own behaviors and then put ourselves in regular positions to fail. So in the context of diet and exercise, I would go to the store, I would buy all the things I like and bring them home. And then through the willpower sort of problem, by the end of the day, because my house was stocked full of things that I really like, I would be wrestling the temptation of that for the entirety of the day. And inevitably, at the end of the day, I would fail. Because I have made a problem a willpower problem. The best place to have willpower, the best place to apply it in this situation is actually at the store. And if you can prevent the stuff from entering your house, you don't put yourself in a position to have decision fatigue on a regular basis. All of a sudden, you've freed up the cognitive bandwidth to kind of move on from that. And you could talk about why and all the addictive behaviors and stuff that comes with it. And there's plenty of other episodes in the series here that talk about addiction, as it were. But when you start talking about willpower and the kinds of positive changes you want to make, The best place to have willpower is actually in the early decision and planning processes as much as you can. If you can determine, for example, to eliminate a distraction, eliminate a temptation, consciously go into an experience where you will not have access to the things that you might get derailed by, you are essentially shortcutting the willpower problem at the jump. And by doing that, you're going to have a much, much higher probability of achieving the outcomes you're looking for. So again, this isn't a don't develop willpower. This is use the decisions you're making and make them at the right time in the process so that you don't have to make them every single second of the day for the rest of your life.
The views represented in this podcast are those of the speaker alone and are not representative of any grand or subordinate lodge.
Hi, Brian here. I wanted to thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you have any suggestions or guidance for further episodes you'd like to see or hear, whatever the case may be, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at amasonswork.com, and we will try and incorporate your suggestions into a future recording. Thanks.
Freemasonry teaches us that the true work is within, a lifelong journey of reflection, discipline, and discovery. At A Mason's Work, we help Masons bring out their best selves through meaningful self-inquiry and symbolic practice. From personal reflection to lodge engagement, we offer tools that turn symbols into action. Visit us at amasonswork.com. The work is within. The time is now.